So in this video we're going to talk about how to get through your first lessons in ESL class. So when you first start teaching, the first thing that you are probably going to be thinking about is how to survive the lesson, and your main criteria for choosing activities might be something that's going to work and just something that's going to work. So let's talk about how you can find those things and how you can get through your first class. Okay, so first of all, you should probably be using the course book. The people who create these course books have a lot of experience and they know how to put things together, and so using a plan that's set out by somebody who has a lot of experience is definitely a good idea than planning your own thing for the very first class. You can think of a lesson as a bunch of separate but linked activities. So you want to have a few different activities in there. You can have one main one, but you want to have a few different things to mix it up a little bit. And on your first class too, you want to try to learn your students' names, and you want to try to learn things about them. Okay, so try to talk to them, get to know them, that kind of thing. Try to use what are called student-focused activities as opposed to teacher-focused activities. So teacher-focused activities are where the teacher is the head of the class and the students are just kind of quietly listening. And student-focused activities are ones that make the students actually do something, where the students have to do something. So how this works is typically when you start an activity, there are 4 parts, okay? You have what's called the lead-in. The lead-in is the first part, and the lead-in is something to get the students interested in the activity. A lot of the time it's just asking them questions related to the topic that the activity is about, and then having them discuss them, and then discuss them together, and then discuss them as a class. Number 2 is setting up the activity. So this is making sure that you're giving clear instructions on what they're supposed to be doing, and making sure that they understand whatever it is that is involved in the activity. So any difficult words or difficult grammar, they need to be understanding that. Part 3 is the main part of the activity, and this is going to take by far the most time. If you're spending a lot of time on part 1, 2, or 4, then that's not so good. Okay, number 3 is where they mostly want to be spending time. Number 3 is doing the activity. So typically when you do this, they're either going to be doing it alone, or they're going to be doing it in pairs or in groups. And then you can just set them up in their pairs or in their groups, and then they can do the activity. And while they're doing it, you can just walk around and see what they're doing and try to help them if they're getting stuck. But I would recommend that you don't try to over teach, okay? Don't feel like you constantly need to be talking to them, teaching them, or doing something, because a lot of the time your help can actually be interfering with them working on the activity. And then finally, so part 4, you want to end the activity, close it off, and then talk about it and get feedback on it, give them feedback on their mistakes and that kind of thing. Okay, so for your first class too, I would recommend that you create a written plan. It doesn't need to be some, thing that you would submit to like the principal of the school or something, but you probably want to have some sort of an outline that you can keep glancing at as you're doing the class. Okay, you want to consider the aims of your class. You want to know what it is that you want the students to get out of the class and why you're doing the activities that you're doing. That'll help you. Here's another distinction in ESL is you want to know whether each of your activities are fluency activities or accuracy activities. So there's an idea that so accuracy activities are ones where you want to make sure that the students are being as accurate as possible, and they're trying to accurately produce either use new vocabulary or new grammar. And fluency activities are a little bit more free, where they're just kind of practicing speaking. And if you're doing one of these activities, then you don't need to be as much of a stickler for them being correct, just trying to get them to talk as much as possible. So be aware of which type of an activity you're doing. Before you do the class, you want to make sure that the room is ready. You want to make sure that the tables and the setup of the class is how you want it, where the student's going to be sitting, you know, and what direction are they going to be sitting and that kind of thing. You want to make sure that you're ready, in terms of you want to make sure you have the markers and the pencil and the class list and all that kind of stuff ready. Also, you want to kind of over plan. You want to make sure that you have extra activities, because sometimes you think something is going to take a certain amount of time and you're completely wrong, and the students finish it, something that you thought would take 10 minutes in about 30 seconds. So you want to make sure that you have something extra in case that happens, and in case you misplanned and there's an extra 5 or 10 minutes at the end of class. Okay, so those are all things in terms of preparation. Now let's talk about what you want to do when the class actually starts. Okay, so one thing is that you want to definitely be talking to the students as they're coming into the room. One thing that you don't want to do is just sit there quietly or busily looking busy while the students come into the room, and then when they get in there, and then it's just this kind of awkward silence while they're all there, and then it just creates a bit of a strange atmosphere. So talk to them when they're coming into the room. You also want to, like I said before, learn the students' names, and there are 2 methods for doing this that you can use. One is to create a chart on a piece of paper that looks like the table setup, and then as you figure out what their names are, write their names on the chart so that you can easily know who's who. Another one is you can have them make little name cards. So if you take like a piece of paper and then fold it into 3, making a little triangle, then you can have them write their names on the front of that thing. And then the nice thing about that is everybody knows their names. Sometimes they don't know each other's names as well. Okay, and then in terms of what you're going to be doing too here, try to be yourself and try to be as authentic as possible with the students. Don't put on some kind of a shtick. And 2 things that you need to be aware of is that teaching does not equal talking. So try not to be the center of the class. Try not to be talking constantly throughout the class. And also sometimes you might be worried that teaching does not always mean that you need to be teaching all the time. Okay, sometimes your help or your teaching can be interfering with the students working on the activities that they need to work on. Okay, so once you're done with your very first class, here are some tips for a few of the later classes, once you're a few classes in. So once you're a few classes in, you can start asking your students for feedback and start being more aware of what's going on in the classroom. Okay, start slowing down and checking your radar, see what's going on with them. Check out what's hard for them, what's easy for them, things that are boring, or what they enjoy and stuff like that. Another thing you want to be aware of is that you don't want to just teach and teach and teach, and then when you're done, teach more and teach more and teach more. Okay, what you want to be doing is you want to teach something and then check and make sure that all of the students understand it, and then you want to practice that thing. Okay, a good scale for what you should be doing is you should be doing 5% teaching and 95% checking and practice. Okay, and another thing that you need to be really make sure of, that I already said, but I'll say it again, is you need to be really sure that everyone is understanding. Make sure that you're not teaching to just one student who's the best, but make sure that all of them understand what it is that you're teaching. Alright. This is the end of how to get through a first class, and thank you for listening.